GST was introduced in India in 2017. Many businesses welcome the move and able to comply with the regulatory requirement with their IT infrastructure, wherein few small-scale businesses couldn't comply with the regulatory compliances due to unavailability of IT infrastructure and forced to kick out of the business. GST had two important benefits. One is the proper flow of input tax credit. What is it? What does input tax credit means? It is nothing but the GST tax what you have paid to your supplier can be claimed as a credit while you are paying to the customer. It can be adjusted and only the net payment can be remitted to the government. It helps you to reduce the cost of your product and removes the cascading effect of the taxes. When this one is compared with the old tax regime, that is under excise, customs and service tax, VAT systems, now so far the customs alone remains outside the gambit of GST, others were subsumed under GST. In old tax regime, the tax what we paid under one tax law can't be claimed as a credit in the other tax law. That is, if you have paid the amount to the excise manufacturer under Excise Act, you can't claim that credit under VAT Act. Now, we don't have this multiple tax laws. We have only one law, which is GST, which helps you to have a clean flow of ITC and reduce the cost of your product and transfer the benefits to your end consumers. The second most important benefit of GST is that having a self-policing system. What is it? It helps the GST authorities to reduce their work and put the pressure on the GST return filers when it comes to claiming the credit. How it works? It's very simple. That is, when your supplier files their return, that information gets auto-populated in your portal, and here you have to accept that credit. Only upon accepting it, then only you can claim that one. Otherwise also you can do it on provisional basis, but many restrictions are placed in this. Hence the assessment work and much legal work has come down, and the system actually have a foolproof mechanism when compared with the old regime. Okay, now let's look at the applicability portion. GST is not applicable to every business organization. It is applicable based on threshold criteria, that is turnover limit. If you are put up in Tamil Nadu and if you are dealing only in goods in any form, either as a manufacturer or as a trader, and if your turnover limit is up to rupees 40 lakhs, then you don't have to register under GST. Anyhow, you can take a voluntary registration if you want. And if you are a service provider, then your turnover limit is 20 lakhs. The most important benefit of getting registered under GST is that, as I said earlier, we have the proper ITC credit, ITC infrastructure in GST, that is input tax credit. Most business persons welcome only the other business person only if he is registered under GST, because then only he can have a flow of credit properly in the system and it helps to price the product properly. Otherwise, your pricing would go for a toss and it would lead as a cost run and you would be sooner or later kicked out of the business. So hence it is better to register under GST if you are always dealing with a person who is also registered under GST, because it has a mutual benefit. GST is an indirect tax structure, as everyone knows. That is, we collect the tax from the customer and remit to the government. But contradictory to this, we have another scheme called composition scheme under GST for selective taxpayers. That is, if their threshold is below certain level, then they can choose this and they have to remit the tax from their own pocket. Who can choose this? If you are a manufacturer and trader, then if your turnover limit is less than 1.5 crore, obviously you have to take a registration, but you don't want to comply with the GST in full-fledged manner because you don't have a proper infrastructure and you don't want to pay so much hefty compliance cost, then you can choose this regime and you have to pay a minimal of 1% of your turnover as a GST. But here the catch is you can't collect from your customer, you have to pay from your own pocket. But if you are a restaurant service provider, then GST rate would be 5%. And if you are a normal service provider, that is other than restaurant service provider, then your GST rate would be 6% in this case. GST won't work the same way how it works for the other organizations. Depending upon your business structure, it do changes. So if you are an e-commerce operator, the way the GST works is completely different. Whatever that I said, it won't apply to you. If you are too confused which type of registration to take and how this ITC works and how to comply with the GST registration, obviously you are not expert in this, and if you want to carry on your business smoothly without having much trouble with all this, take assistance of a proper professionals in this. Thank you very much.